Let's get to the Bronny story. All right. This is a sad story. LeBron James' son, Bronny, has suffered a cardiac arrest, but leave it up to the psychopaths on Twitter or X to take this situation and, turn it into vaccine discourse.
We're getting word that Bronny James, who is going to be a freshman basketball player at USC, suffered cardiac arrest while at a practice yesterday. Let me read a statement that was just provided to us by the family. It says, yesterday while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff was able to treat Bronny and take him to the hospital. He is now in stable condition and no longer in the ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family, and we will update the media when there is more information. LeBron and Savannah, the parents of Bronny, wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes. So cardiac arrest while at a practice yesterday. Importantly and crucially, before we have any more discussion, resting comfortably, no longer in the ICU. Let's get right to CNN Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay, you've now seen the statement. Andy Scholes, I'm told, is with us as well.
Hold on,
Sanjay, you've now seen this statement. Give us a sense of what you see here, what this means to you.
Well, so he's 18 years old. Sounds like he had this sudden cardiac arrest. There was a very fast, it sounds like, resuscitation taken to the hospital. But as you point out, given the fact that he was in the intensive care unit but was then able to leave the intensive care unit and is on a general care floor, that is obviously the most important sort of headline there. Obviously, the cardiac arrest, what exactly triggered that, what caused that, that's what the doctors are going to be sort of investigating over the next several days. This is rare. We know that a few thousand people who are young athletes do suffer sudden cardiac arrests every year. There's all sorts of different reasons that can happen, electrical abnormalities of the heart. We know, for example, with Damar Hamlin, it was related to something known as cordis commotio, which is a blow to the chest wall. We don't know what happened specifically with Bronny James, but in any given year, this does happen thousands of times. Sometimes it can be a structural abnormality of the heart that was never really recognized until now. Wasn't recognized until someone actually first has a problem with it. It could be an electrical problem with the heart. Again, that was unrecognized till now. So we'll get more of those details, but again, the most important thing, thankfully, is that he appears to have been resuscitated successfully. And in terms of how doctors are looking at him now, they think that he is stable enough to not need intensive care at this point, which is also good news.
Since this popped off, since this happened, a lot of people immediately chose to go, oh, how could this have happened? Well, it certainly happened because of vaccine injury. As though cardiac arrests for young athletes is not a commonplace situation. For the record, this had happened at USC already. Vince Iwuchukwu underwent a similar problem, okay? But that has not stopped people from, once again, going died suddenly mode. The details are pretty basic. While practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff was able to treat Bronny and take him to the hospital. He's now in stable condition and no longer in the ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family. We'll update the media when there's more information. 911 call was made at 9:26 a.m. Monday from USC's Galen Center, the venue where the team plays and practices. And the 18-year-old hooper who was unconscious was taken to ambulance by ambulance to the hospital. Cardiac arrest for young athletes or athletes in general is common. Why do people assume athletes are in perfect health? It's not even necessarily like silent medical issues, but 100 to 150 cardiac arrests during sports in the U.S. on average. Crazy, it's Bronny, but it's not out of the norm. Exactly. Like when you are pushing your body, to the absolute fucking brink, to limits that are unimaginable by the average person, you are, of course, going to sometimes have issues, cardiovascular issues. Happened to Shaq's son too. Sharif had to get major heart surgery. Fucking insane. While this is a commonplace issue, this has not stopped people from immediately blaming the vaccine. It has, of course, happened in the past before the COVID vaccine, and it will continue happening in the future as well. Right-wing losers thinking no one ever went into cardiac arrest before March 2020. I mean, they do this for other shit too. This is why the assumption of doing sports and being physically fit equals healthy is not always correct. I mean, you can be a healthy person and still suffer from this, okay? The human body is crazy. I'm confused. Like, the human body is insane, dude. When you're literally pushing it to limits that normal humans don't push it to, you can sometimes have these kinds of complications. You can be an objectively healthy person, an objectively fit person, and a healthy person, and still suffer these kinds of consequences. You can have a clean bill of health and yet have this happen as well. What is this? True Lamau? Terminally online motherfuckers, anytime something that's happening for years happens to a famous person, yeah, immediately they fucking push the vaccine button, which is crazy. I think there needs to be a little bit more bullying done on this regard. You know what I mean? Whenever you see some shit like this and you immediately rush to fucking propagandize it this way is so crazy. These dudes also went from like every single person is gonna die in the next 2 years to like sometimes athletes are just gonna fucking collapse in the same exact way, in the same exact fucking way that they always have. Another part of the problem is myocarditis that comes from the chat. I didn't read the article law. The article clearly states about 30 times more likely to happen among non-athletes. Another aspect of this that is like lost in the sauce is that myocarditis and this kind of cardiac arrest numbers have actually increased. Except, you know what also has created a higher likelihood of this happening? Fucking COVID. COVID, man. You get COVID one fucking time, and we don't even fully understand the complications that occur. No, not just being fat. Everybody knows that. I'm talking about specifically how if you do get COVID, as pretty much every single person has at this point, at least in the United States of America, no matter how sheltered you are. And there have been papers done on this. The relative risk for myocarditis was more than 7 times higher in the infection group than in the vaccination group. As in, you're 7 times more likely to have myocarditis due to getting COVID than being fucking vaccinated. Ashkenazi Jew immune to COVID. Yeah. But if you ask RFK Jr., one of the more prominent anti-vaxxers in the field, running for the Democratic Party ticket, by the way. Ultimately, it's probably, if you're Ashkenazi Jew or Chinese, you famously don't get COVID because it's a fucking bioweapon, allegedly. Like, why am I supposed to not listen to the motherfucking scientists and instead listen to some dumbass YouTuber who, like, in the beginning of the COVID pandemic was claiming that it was a 5G coronavirus chip or that COVID was fake and it was actually caused by 5G in areas where they hadn't even built a fucking 5G infrastructure yet? Why am I supposed to listen to a guy who has been wrong the entire fucking way? It's bananas, dude. It's fucking crazy. Why am I supposed to listen to you? You have not been right at all. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't been right from the jump. You've never been right. Like, yeah, sure, scientists have got certain things wrong. It's new. It's novel. People are trying to be overprotective, and that's understandable. But, like, if we're looking at who was right and how wrong the people who were wrong were, I don't know, man. The entire scientific community may be going a little bit overboard, thinking it's, like, transmitted through, like, fomide, transmitted through surfaces, and wanting you to wash your fucking groceries, which everybody thought was, like, insane regardless, versus dudes who were like, aliens are doing this. Actually, never mind. I decided it's the Chinese that did this as a bioweapon. Actually, never mind. I decided that it's the vaccine that's really terrifying and the real scary situation. That's the one who's killing shit. It's like, why? You haven't even demonstrated basic competency at all. Elon Musk being one of the main people. This fucking dumbass looked at a novel coronavirus okay, and used his big brain processing power, okay, his mega savant brain, and said COVID will be done by April. April of what year, you dumbass? Why am I supposed to ever trust you again on this kind of shit? Like, it's so fucking stupid, dude. It's so dumb. He goes, we cannot ascribe everything to the vaccine, but by the same token, we can not ascribe nothing. Myocarditis is a known side effect. The only question is whether it's rare or common. Like, what the fuck are you saying? What are you saying, dude? Yeah, here, he didn't delete it. Based on current trends, probably close to 0 new cases in the U.S. too by end of April. Yeah, dude, I really care about what you have to say about COVID, dumbass. What the fuck is that accent? I don't know. I can't do a good Elon Musk. It's like too weird. He does sound like Tommy Wiseau a little bit. Isn't there data on this already? Yeah, there is. But guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. For people who want to believe in like reactionary right-wing conspiracy theories, their entire world literally revolves around avoiding publicly available information like you're avoiding the top of the hour ad break. That's what these people are doing. Like it's their goddamn job. A lot of dumb people are running amok with conspiracy theories now. It's just so fucking gross, so incredibly gross and odd. This has been happening for a very long time. It just is a thing that happens. The human body is very complex. And when you're pushing your body to like new cardiovascular limits, you're always going to have some of these issues. Bronny James news has been out for 30 minutes, but here's some vaccine speculation from the owner of Twitter. It's just like, I don't know. It's just fucking so frustrating. It's so profoundly annoying. But here's a ally in the field. Mike Malak has been duking it out in the replies with other motherfuckers out here. Sudden cardiac arrest is the leading cause of death in young/student athletes. Here's a list of some of the athletes lost before COVID or the vaccine ever existed, which I think is wild. Like Mike is a smart guy. You guys know this already. If you've watched our videos together, you probably know that. But you know, it's cool to see him, combat this kind of misinformation on the timeline, especially when like those in positions of authority, like Elon Musk, are just like saying idiotic shit. Oh, here, by the way, there was a context that was added with a reader note. Community notes actually came in clutch and said, studies show that the risk of myocarditis is significantly higher after an actual COVID infection than with the vaccine. Among adolescent boys, the risk of myocarditis following COVID infection was approximately twice that of the risk following the second vaccine dose. And guess what? That community notes is now gone, okay? It's gone. It doesn't exist under the Elon post, as we saw. I wonder how that happened. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Which part of the fact that COVID affects young people refutes my point that sudden cardiac arrest has been an issue before COVID? Where you get your information at, my guy? It's one of those things where the supposed common sense people, always can get things wrong. It's like the NATO guys versus someone like myself, okay? If the NATO guys are getting shit wrong, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It's done. It happens. It's a part of the process. But if you get one thing wrong, if you're not like directly defending NATO, holy fuck, they'll never let you live it down. Same thing goes for these kinds of conspiracy theorists. They get everything wrong the entire fucking way, and then they lose their mind at the minor infraction that comes from like, I don't know, like talking about masking and its importance or some other shit that epidemiologists might have gotten wrong or went overboard with, right? Not saying that the masking was overboard. They immediately pounce on that forever. They never let you live that down. People can get things wrong. You just have to analyze it on the virtues. You have to look at it and see what the consequences of getting certain things wrong were. And it's always worse. It's always significantly more problematic if epidemiologists were less reluctant, okay? And if they didn't go overboard. If they didn't go overboard and if they were just like less protective, then more people would have died. So obviously you want them, You want people in positions of power. You want scientists to be more careful and considerate. Fox News anchor Martha McCallum on Bronny James. People see these situations, and it does raise questions about the vaccine because we saw some of what you talked about happen in some young individuals after that. Elon Musk tweeted about it. Is that a fair question to raise?
Out of the ICU, but he needs to undergo further testing to determine the cause of his cardiac arrest.
You know, I think a lot of people see these situations and it does raise questions about the vaccine, because we saw some of what you talked about happen in some young individuals after that. Elon Musk tweeted about it. We can't ascribe everything to the vaccine, but by the same token, we cannot ascribe nothing. Myocarditis is a known side effect. The only question is whether it's rare or common. Is that a fair question to raise? And is it true that we see more of this than we did prior to the vaccine, doctor?
So what's more common in someone like Bronny James is cardiomyopathy, not myocarditis. But is it off the table? Absolutely not. He needs to have the workup to determine.
Then don't pay millions to get things wrong. You're pandering to elites again. Thank you, 27-month subscriber. Don't pay millions to get things wrong. I don't think you understood anything I said there. I would much rather have epidemiologists get things wrong by being extra cautious and extra considerate, okay, rather than get things wrong in the other direction. Sometimes people are going to get things wrong. By the way, this does not even factor into the vaccine conversation, okay? This is not even factoring into the vaccine conversation. Also, you must be the dumbest person on the planet if you think epidemiologists who are looking at restrictions, okay, like what kind of restrictions that need to be put in place to avoid the further spread of a virus, a novel virus, are millionaires, multimillionaires, the elites in society. You must have gotten a fucking vaccine injury or something if you genuinely think that these guys are fucking multimillionaires raking in the cash, the societal elite. Going for the lowest risk option is not getting things wrong. It's calculated risk like all policy routes. Exactly.
Determine what happened. He'll probably have an EKG, an echo, a stress test. Fortunately, there is treatment for this.
And do we see more?
Yeah, the irony, of course, is that the real dough to be made is always on the other side. It's always on the conspiracy side. The real dough to be made is on the fucking lower the restriction side. That's those guys who fucking made it out like bandits while lying to you the entire fucking way. Joe Rogan, on the one hand, fucking making $100 million contract work from Spotify. And then on the other hand, you got dudes who are getting like harassed and people showing up at their front door for being PhDs, okay, who have been studying this their whole goddamn lives, who just want people to not die.
More instances of this post-vaccine or not? Is that not true?
That's a good question. We don't have the data to say so, but it's certainly something that we need to be aware of. And that's why it's important to see your doctor routinely and get your yearly physicals. See your doctor if you're having any symptoms of chest pain, palpitations, shortness of breath, if you feel faint, so that we can figure out what's going on and prevent cardiac arrest in the first place.
Okay. Dr. Jeanette Neshawat, thank you. Always good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
here.
here.
Great to see you. Thank you, Martha.
So,
Yeah, thanks, Martha.
stick around for this. Congress.
I don't know if you're ever going to convince anyone that genuinely fell for these conspiracy theories. Like, I don't know how you can drill this into them, even though with how simply you're explaining it, it's like impossible to fight against this type of misinformation. Yeah, I do kind of see it as a bit of a lost cause. I'm not going to lie. I do consider this a bit of a lost cause. It's just like really, really, really hard to drill this, no matter how many times you fucking mention it. Elon Musk had the community note removed. Yeah, this community note is gone. It's almost like there's already a peer-reviewed research to answer this question. No association between out-of-hospital cardiac arrest and COVID-19 vaccination.